Welcome back, traders. Going to do a weekly outlook for what I'm expecting in the week ahead on the S&P 500 E-mini futures. So let's start off with a monthly chart actually to start with. So we're into a new month here in October. And it started pretty well actually. We've filled this gap here from this month in May. And we're starting to hold price action, and buyers stepped in on Friday in NFP. Okay, and we're currently inside the previous month. So this is the previous month's range. Okay, just from here, so we can mark that. Previous month close. And then previous month open. So it's the range we're playing in at the moment. On a month-to-month basis, we're interested in a retest of this sort of breakout level down here, and we can refine that shortly when we go to a daily chart. So if I then go for a weekly, okay, so last week, as you can see, came down, filled some of these imbalances here in the weekly charts, and price action held on Friday before we push back up. So we can refine this monthly level into a weekly level here. This was a level that I was looking to get tagged in. And we've also got this here, okay, which would have been a previous supply zone. This is how I teach it to my students. This previous supply zone we then flipped. Into bullish. Okay, so price action previously had rejected this point, and we'd come down and started grinding up into it. And once we broke above this supply zone here, became a demand zone. So now we're waiting to see if this holds for a move back up, okay, to complete this full move. So this would be potentially for a retest of the highs, okay, on a weekly, because we've built this liquidity here, this liquidity here, this liquidity here, which became supply in this area, and we're going to see if we can hold it for a move back up. If we use some anchored VWAPs from these pivot lows, on the weekly we're now basing above these, which is a very bullish sign. And we can also add them in from here. And if we add one in from all-time high, I'm pretty sure we've broken this pivot now. Yeah. So that's a good spot here. The fact that we've held that is looking encouraging. I'm actually going to get rid of this now because they are now completely out of the game. Drop down into a daily chart here. Okay, so as you can see, this level here was a really important area. We had this old flip zone, which again, you could now refine this even more if you wanted. So you could do one potentially here and one above it, which was that gap fill. Okay, interesting. So I could pull that down more, pull that across. Okay, so we're holding very key levels of demand here, but we're clearly on a daily chart still trapped inside of range. Okay, so from a daily chart you had this move down, consolidation, drop base drop, okay, push back up, retested the supply, it held, rejected, made a lower low. Okay, so we are still here in a downtrend. We had a very bullish move on Friday, but it's very feasible that we can retest to go lower right now. Okay, it's still very feasible to do that. Just want to have a look at our SMAs. So that's the 200 and the 50. Just want to check that. Yeah. So 250 estimate on the daily, so we held the 200, which is really your sort of yearly pivot point, a key point to hold. 50 starting to trend down, so still, again, confluence that we're just trapped in this zone. I can take these back off now to clean the chart back up. And add in the supply zones for the daily. So clearly a retest of this is going to be very, very important. Almost got there on Friday if we're doing the actual body of the candle. And where is the liquidity that we could seek? Well, there's definitely some in here. Where short stops live. And up here, and we have another level of supply up here in confluence. Okay, and if we think about a fib-based play, if we go from the previous swing, getting into this sort of gap is definitely feasible, starting to fill some of these key golden zone areas before a potential move back down, or of course a potential that could just be a push up, a hold, and a move out in expansion. We don't know yet until we get there, but these are, I'm looking for areas that I might be interested in the next week. And if we go from this pivot here, okay, so we held the 50% mark, which is very bullish. Typically see that in bullish price action. So the buyers definitely wanted to step in there in the discount and hold it up with confluence of the 200 SMA on the daily, and of course these daily and weekly levels of demand. So coming into thesis of what we might be able to do, well, I always look for a 5-day model. So typically I would look for a move on a Monday, okay, maybe a continuation on a Tuesday, and then maybe a fake breakout on the Wednesday before moving back down, and then on Friday we have to see if there's any key news. Okay, so really my range is dealt with by the Tuesday high and the Monday or Tuesday low. It doesn't always have to look like this, okay, it could be that the complete opposite way around, but I always am interested in the extreme points, okay, that Monday and Tuesday leave. Okay, so if this here was Monday, this would be Tuesday. I'd be looking for a move like this on Wednesday. If that didn't happen and we didn't get a fake breakout, then my model would be off and I'd be looking for something different. That's a typical model that I look for. It can also go the other way around, of course. So right now, what am I looking at? Well, definitely this supply zone here is interesting. We've created new demand down here for sure. This is a key level, whether we can hold that or not. If I flip down now into a 4-hour, we can refine this a bit. In fact, this whole level here, and if I go to a 1-hour, now we're really starting to dig in. We can extend this across. So what would I like to see? Well, if I'm bullish here, I'm liking this range here, and I'd like to see it stay bullish. So a nice pullback and retest into this range, okay? And then a continuation up, and I'd want to see us start to get through supply and dig into these other levels. Remember, we've got a lot of area up here which needs rebalancing. If we go back to a daily, okay, there's some big areas up here which need rebalancing from the move down. We could also have a model which simply sweeps. Okay, so we could have the model which pulls down, creates the low on the Monday before expanding up on the Tuesday, break out on the Wednesday, trap continuation buys in before coming back down into range. It's very feasible that we hang out in this range for a while. Okay, even though we did get a buy signal on Friday. There was clearly a buy signal on Friday. Off the wash on NFP. Okay, off this move here where we held previous demand on the hourly. So this was an hourly demand level, which we came straight into. We held, we pushed straight through, and we've based over. The only thing interesting to me is these supply zones up here now. Can we get through those for an expansion upwards? That's what I'm looking for. So for a bullish move, I'm looking for this area here to hold 4,300 and just under before expanding upwards, and then a break and retest would be great. If we fail to hold that, or if we're explosive out the gate, and remember Monday actually will be a much lower volume day for ES. So really the start of the week is likely to happen on Tuesday. I will watch it on Monday, but likely won't trade it because the rest of the markets are closed. We could also get a clean out and then pull back into range. Very feasible. Or of course, we can continue to squeeze, break and retest for the move higher. That's what I'm looking at for this week. That's my outlook. Back to a daily. Looking for these key levels to hold for any move bullish. Okay, I'm not going to chase price down. If we're going to look for a short, I'm going to look for a sweep of some of these areas here first and a rebalance. Maybe dig into some of these key anchors, which we're at one right now. Surprise, surprise. Dig into some of these key anchors before turning back around. For that to happen, I would need to see us build liquidity. But right now, on this daily chart, it's pretty clear that we've got a nice left shoulder here, potential head. So any dip down into here, I'm expecting buyers to come in. And also, of course, all the shorts who came in late in Friday, this is where they're sat right now underwater. So any return into there, I'm expecting them to cover fairly quickly for a break even or as close to loss, and that should give us the impetus to start making that leg back up and to start rebalancing some of these areas in here. And after that point, I don't know. A lot of things have happened this weekend. We've got outbreak of war in Israel and Palestine. We've got lots of Fed talk early next week, PPI and CPI. So we're going to have to see how those data points come out. But yeah, bullish for now. As long as we can hold these levels down here, I'll be looking for dips for a potential retracement. And if we just expand over and start to fail, I'll be looking to ride us back down into these levels of demand. Trade safe this week, traders, and I'll see you soon.